Breaking news tonight. Shock query. Did killer Brian Laundrie's parents, his mother and father, know Gabby Petito had been murdered? Did they know that all along? Refusing to let her parents know and launch a wild goose chase for their daughter? Tonight, joining us, Gabby Petito's dad and stepmom. Not only are they analyzing what happened then, but wait until you hear what they are doing now, what they are doing for other crime victims. It's amazing. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
I don't want to try and defend myself by saying anything here, but I pushed her away. She gets really worked up, and when she does, she swings, and she had her cell phone in her hand, so I was just trying to push her away. But
I was just really stressed this morning, trying to get a lot of work done, and I was apologizing to him. I had thrown a bunch of stuff in the back, all our bags are back there, and I was just apologizing. I was like, I'm sorry that I get so stressed out.
Okay, how in the world was Brian Laundrie deemed the victim in that scenario? Did you hear that? How many times have women been victimized and the man says, quote, she really gets worked up? Then you see Gabby, who was murdered, apologizing. Like it's my fault because she threw something in the back seat. Just so you know, the police pulled them over after reports had occurred of Brian Laundrie beating Gabby Petito, slapping her in the face on Main Street. Why am I emphasizing Main Street? Because if he would do that on Main Street, what would he do in private, i.e., out in dispersed camping where her remains were found? Completely bass-ackwards. And she paid for the police mistake with her life. Joining me right now, two people that we all think we know so well because we've seen them on TV, we've heard their voices. But now, joining me, Joe and Tara Petito. This is Gabby's dad and stepmom. They have been co-parenting with Gabby's stepdad and bio mom for years and years, all four of them. I believe, Tara, they call you a bonus mom?
Yes. And they call Jim a bonus dad because we're more than step. We've been in Gabby's life since she was very little, so
I've been there from the start.
As a matter of fact, isn't it true, Tara, that very quickly after you met Joe, now your husband, you saw photos of Gabby, just a little bitty girl?
Oh, yeah, we met when Gabby was just about 8-9 months old. We didn't start really dating until about 6 months later. But yeah, one of the first things he did show me was a picture of Gabby.
You know, Tara, a lot of guys, and I guess women, but mostly guys in the dating world, they hide the fact that they have children. Or they don't even care, they don't even think of talking about their children because they're so disconnected and they're more focused on getting a girlfriend and all that entails. But not Joe Petito. Joe, what is your single most, I know there's a lot, but what is your single most vivid memory of Gabby?
When I ditched work with her, so it was like bring your daughter to work day, and my work was boring. Jim's got like a cool job, like he would run into burning buildings and all that stuff, fire pole, whatever. No, I had reports and stuff, so she was so bored, and she's just I could see it, and she's like, let's get out of here. And I'm 100%, where do you want to go? And we went to the Museum of Modern Art, and we hung out there all day. And then we went to, I think it was the Starlight Diner after that in Manhattan. And then we went home. But that was fantastic.
I've been asked that about my fiance Keith before he was murdered, and it's literally a moment. And I've got so many memories, but it's literally a moment, one moment. I lived on the bottom floor of my dormitory, and to come to the room, you'd have to go through the lobby and then walk down a circuitous route and hallways. He would come to the window and throw something at the window of the dorm, and I could just look out. And I remember one of those moments, and I looked down at him, and he had beautiful blue eyes. And that moment when he looked up and smiled, that moment is just something that just stuck in my memory. I mean, there's so many of them, but that's one of them. I don't know how anybody can pick just one with all the birthdays and events and Christmases. And do you let yourself, Joe, think back on all of those amazing times with Gabby, or does that get you upset?
No, I think about it all the time. I mean, yes, I get upset because I can't have any more. But no, I think about it all the time. And yeah, I try to make sure I have those moments with my boys too, because you just never know. So we really try to cherish everything and every moment, and really, you live for today, but you plan for tomorrow. And that's what we do.
What about it, Tara?
Well, I'm going to say, I mean, I cherish all the memories that we had. And again, like Joe just said, I wish we could have more. I find myself often looking at all the pictures. Gabby loved to take pictures, and I'm so grateful that we have so many of them. But right now, I mean, she would have been 26 years old, and she has friends having babies and getting married, and as happy as I am for them, and I'm so, we're never going to get that. I'm never going to see my grandchildren from her, and that's something that's extremely painful.
I've been thinking about everything that we talked about at Crime Con, everything you're saying right now. Tara, you just said something really powerful. It's not what you've already lost, but what you are going to lose. You stated that you will never have grandchildren with Gabby. When did that hit you like a ton of bricks? I mean, do you visualize Christmases and Easters and grandparents' days together, what it would have been like? I mean, when you think of that, what do you visualize?
That is a rough one. I don't think that I really try to visualize that, because I think that would be way too painful. I don't think I have visualized that. I mean, I think about Gabby every single day. I try to look for signs from her every single day. I think about her brothers and sisters not getting to spend those times with her. But damn, yeah. I know I'm never going to have those grandchildren, but have I ever visualized it? No. I think it's too hard.
I did, Tara, but I had to stop. I would visualize us moving to Colorado because Keith already had a job lined up. He was a geology major, and I would have been teaching school, English, or college, I hope, Shakespearean literature, and we would have 3 children, and I let myself do that. It was kind of a comfort thing for years, but then it started taking over, and it wasn't comfort anymore. It was upsetting. And then I had my twins, and I learned to not allow myself to do that, because it takes you down into, a depression or worse. It's very upsetting. And you have your family now that you're helping through Gabby's death. How are they at this juncture dealing with no Gabby here anyway?
The boys are definitely having a very difficult time. My youngest right now, he's really struggling. I think he was too young to really realize what was happening. He was only 10 years old, but now he's 14, and he's really, it's been hitting him hard the past couple of weeks, past couple of months. I just try to focus on them as much as possible. I try to let them know that they are allowed to have happiness. Gabby would want them to have happiness. I let them know that Gabby's here with us, maybe not in physical form, but her spirit's always there. Just so that they know that they have a very long life to live, and they're going to have a lot of memories. But to keep her always there.
Joe, do you ever get sick when you hear people talk about closure? I just heard Tara, there's no closure. Because even now, the boys are struggling. And as some of them get older and they realize what really happened, that's going to be very difficult to take in. There is no closure. I don't know why people say that.
So I don't get sick. I mean, internally, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not a thing. You don't get over the death of a child, but there's no better word to use. And I understand where they're coming from and their intention behind it, to be honest with you. I really do. So, but I just there is no closure on the death of a child, or your partner that you see an entire life with, and it's what you do afterwards, that can make you get through the days. And it's kind of why we do what we do now. And we get our focus, with the foundation and trying to help people. That's one of the reasons that we're on today. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, there's a domestic violence shelter in Laramie that needs some help. They need a security fence, and excuse me, what is it? It's $54,000. And we're going to put up half of it. So we're going to put up 27,000. And we're trying to
I've got to ask you a question. I was just about to ask you, you read my mind, about your T-shirts and where you got them. It's from your foundation, the Gabby Petito Foundation.org. That's where you got the T-shirts, right?
That you can get them, absolutely. If you go to the Gabby Petito Foundation.org, there's a button that says store, and all of our T-shirts and stuff that we designed are up there. So
even our kids designed some of them.
That's right.
You're doing so much with the Gabby Petito Foundation, but one thing you recently told me is about Laundrie'S. It's a shelter near Laramie. Is it actually called Laundrie'S?
No, they call themselves Laundrie'S. It's just, I guess, a spin on the words. It is Laramie, Wyoming. They're an amazing organization. And Nikki and I were able to visit them last year. We spoke at their luncheon. And when we went to the shelter, we noticed that they did not have a security gate. And it was something that was really disturbing because they put their lives at risk every day. They've already had issues where abusers will stalk their victims, and it's not. Most shelters have security gates, and so we came up with this idea that we wanted to raise money to try to get them that, because again, they put their lives at risk every single day, and it's just not right. You shouldn't go to work in fear. You go to a shelter also to be protected from your abuser. So they are really in desperate need of this gate.
Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. If you're on the go, catch us on your favorite podcast app where you can get all of our content where we, in our own way, seek justice. Tara, I remember prosecuting all day long, and I would work at the Battered Women's Center in Atlanta in the evenings, and I was a volunteer, wouldn't even know the location of the shelter for a really long time, months and months and months, if not over a year, before a volunteer who was working the hotline could know where the shelter was, right? Because that's a very real danger for victims to be brutalized, and then they finally get away, and then the perp finds out where they are. And
We sign
in
NDAs before
Laramie,
we
the
go.
shelter you're talking about, they don't even have a fence. What, Joe?
We sign NDAs before we go.
Yep. Because we can't give out the addresses.
That's right.
Well, you're right, because perps have found the shelter and have followed the victim and tried to kill the victim at the shelter. And then there are other people there that are collateral damage. So this fence, these protective measures are really needed. You go to GabbyPetitoFoundation.org, and when you go there and click on that, you'll immediately see how to donate to the Laramie Project Shelter. Tell me about who are the victims there, Joe?
These are domestic violence survivors that need assistance, and they need to make sure that where they are going to be safe. The name of the foundation is called the Safe Project, and they do amazing work. And they like I said, Tara and Nikki went and spoke there, and the last thing they should be worried about is, hey, listen, I got away. Now the person's going to break into where I'm at. I mean, that's the fear that you shouldn't have. And this is a process of healing. It can't start with having more fear where you are. And this is why this is so important. Nikki and Tara are going there, this weekend? This week.
We're going back there this weekend to speak at their luncheon again. Just us being there has brought in more people. They sold out last year, and I think they only have a couple tickets left for this year. So it just brings in more money for them, and that's what our foundation is all about. It's about helping other organizations, DV organizations and missing organizations. I mean, we do a lot of other things as well, but those are our main two things.
I mean, listen, we have a first responder program that Jim's going around the country with. Nikki and Tara do a lot of education and prevention around the country. I do a lot of the legislative work. So when it comes to what we're doing, it's a lot. But this right here, this is going to be our short-term goal is to get them their fence right now and do what they can to make sure that everyone that's there or comes there in the future have a safe place to be.
Joe, when did you decide to launch the Gabby Petito Foundation, and why?
Nikki came up with it before Gabby's service because we had so many people reach out, and there was so many questions on what to do and what you saw and stuff like that. And we just wanted to help as many people as we could and get as much information to people as we could. And to be honest with you, the amount of work that Tara and Nikki do, I mean, Jim and I do a lot of work too, but it's nowhere near the amount of work that Tara does and that Nikki does. And I'll tell you, they are the brains behind the operation, and watching them work is just admirable at its least. They are amazing together. She paid me
to you. Tara, when did you know in your heart that you couldn't just sit by and do nothing after Gabby was murdered by Brian Laundrie? When did you know you had to do something?
It was right before Gabby's service. I mean, nothing that we could do, obviously, is to bring Gabby back. As much as I would love to be able to do that, it's just not possible. But Nikki came to us right before her service and was like, let's start a foundation. I think at that point, we didn't really know what that meant. We didn't know what we were doing. I've never ran a foundation before. But I knew in my heart that we had to do it. So many people helped us, and we don't want this happening to anybody else. I mean, our goal is really to be put out of business. That's what we want. I think most DV organizations, that's what they want. They want to be put out of business because, I mean, it has to stop. The violence has to stop.
I've got a question for you. When you hear or read online, dare you do it, people attacking you, how do you deal with that? Just totally ignore it?
I think in the beginning, it used to really hurt reading that. And then we have amazing supporters that actually would defend us. And we didn't have to do anything at that point. Now I just kind of laugh at them. I look at them like they're bots. They have no idea. They haven't done any research, and lucky for them, they've never been in a situation where they've needed any resources. So have at it, do what you got to do. But
What are the different things that you do through Gabby Petito Foundation.org?
Again, I mean, it's kind of like we said before, what we do, the education prevention. Tara and Nikki go around the country talking to colleges and conferences and foundations and all types of events
You got to
on.
break it down, Joe. Education about what?
Well, so
DV education and prevention. So right now, Jim is out there. He's has always been a first responder. And he developed a DV, it's like Unseen Advocates. So it's a DV prevention program that he goes and teaches first responders.
and EMTs.
And then Nikki and I will go around. We'll this next week. I think next week we're speaking at a high school. Nikki's already spoken at a high school. That's what we would like to get in.
But red flags, where to go if you see situations, similar to, X, and they're talking about these events and these situations that people in, especially when you gear it towards the younger generation, proper friendships, relationships, because they're just new.
And it's also about keeping your airways safe. I mean, Gabby was strangled. So a lot of people do not know the dangers of being strangled, even if it's just for pleasure. That anybody that strangles you is the most dangerous person to walk the earth. Most like if they're going to strangle you, they are ready to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then listen, then there's the legislative
guys,
stuff we do. There's a lethality assessment
oh, yes.
that we're trying to get everywhere. Matter of fact, I'll be up in Albany in October, trying to champion a bill that's up there for the state of New York. So then we'll have Utah, Florida, and New York that'll have it. We just trained the LAPD 2 months back. They are using the Maryland Network Against Domestic Violence's lethality assessment now too. So just doing as much as we can as just everywhere. We're working on some legislation in Australia and the United Kingdom as well.
I want to circle back on what the legislation is that you're working on, but something that Tara said about prevention, DV, domestic violence, I would see by the time I got them, they would be felonies such as aggravated battery, where a woman would lose her eye, the use of her eye, or forever lose the use of her arm or a finger or a leg even, or an aggravated assault where the victim is shot, stabbed, beaten with fists. So there'd be or they're dead. That's how I would get the case in court. By then it's a felony, right? And it was a constant stream. I remember one woman coming in, it's like a body cast from the hip down on one side of her whole leg, ankle all the way up. And she was on crutches, of course, and trailing behind her was the perp. They came together, and she came up to me and wanted to drop charges. Of course, I reamed him a new tail hole and refused to drop charges and let him know that's my decision, not hers. My point is, all I could do at that point is put somebody behind bars for a good long time. But what you're doing is trying to stop it before it happens.
We're also trying to change some of the mentality behind it. I hate, listen, I don't want to bring up politics because I think politics is just a ridiculous, topic, to be honest with you, but there was something that was said yesterday that I was tagged in, and it was, and we'll go offline on who it was, but someone pretty prominent made a comment where, even a small, fight between a husband and wife in the home is now considered criminal, or, and they were just making light of that topic where it's not the disagreements or the arguments that you have, but the idea that someone would say something like that and not understand there's some serious ramifications behind even small fights where people will consider and there's dangers behind it, and it's just not okay, and it's that mentality that we need to change. And I mean, we were talking about it last night. I can't believe I actually heard something like that. And that's what we're trying to change, that type of old way of thinking, that's okay. It's not okay.
Because abuse is a process. I mean, we know that when Brian killed Gabby, that wasn't the first time he strangled her. He had strangled her many times beforehand. I mean, now we know that. We didn't know that then. But a lot of times they love bomb you, they isolate you, they start gaslighting. I mean, they're not going to physically abuse you right away. They got to win you over and make you think that they're the best thing ever. And then they will slowly show their true colors. So it doesn't just happen overnight. It takes some time. I mean,
And it's crazy how they're always the same process.
Yeah.
It really is.
So it's really just teaching.
Well, there's statistics that show that when you kill someone from strangulation, you've done it before.
And she also disclosed that to one of her friends.
I've got a question. Are you convinced that Laundrie's family knew Gabby was dead for weeks and let you and everybody else search for her while refusing to take your calls?
It is my now. I'm going to say it in terms that I'm allowed to say it. It is my opinion.
Okay.
That they definitively knew, and nothing that anyone says will ever change that. I've seen too much information to say otherwise.
Yeah.
They knew. My opinion.
And I
Again, under our law, no one has been accused, no one is a person of interest or a suspect in hiding Gabby's murder. Everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. That said, what have you seen that convinces you? What have you seen that gives you the opinion that the Laundries damn well knew Gabby was dead? Could it be that they sent $25,000 to a Wyoming defense attorney where her body was found before she was found?
Yeah, that would be a possibility.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, that would kind of do it for me.
I mean, and in Christopher Laundrie's deposition said that Gabby was gone. That Brian called and said Gabby was gone and that he needed a lawyer. I mean, but then he tried to say, "Oh, because she just ran off." I don't know anybody that needs a lawyer for a breakup.
Yeah, no, I've never needed a lawyer for a breakup.
So,
and nor have I sent
Question:
$25,000.
How many times did you try to reach them? Because we all know Brian Laundrie drove across the country in Gabby's Ford Transit, arrives at home in her car, and none of the Laundrie said, "Hey, where's Gabby? There's her car. You're here. Where's Gabby?" How many times did you call them to find out where's Gabby, and nobody would tell you?
I don't know how many times I did. I know I did a few and texted a few.
Yeah.
You called a few. Jim called a few. Nikki called a few. I mean, we kept calling and texting, but it got no responses. But I mean, listen, nothing's going to bring her back. And listen, we hurt every day. We go through the process every day. But it really does. The stuff that we do now and the work that we do now really does make a difference in impacting our lives and making us feel like it. Not that it's worth it, but maybe there's meaning behind it. So, I don't know. You were one of the first people to put a smile on our face. Back when this happened. I don't know if many people know that you put me on your family thread for the twins' birthday and accidentally, and like, are you coming? And I didn't know how to respond. And I showed Tara, and it was like one of the first times that we laughed, to be honest with you. Like, we actually had a smile on our face. And she's like, "You have to respond." So, and then we had, all that stuff. But that was one of the first times that we laughed. So, So I'll give
I
you
don't know
that.
how I
Thank you.
put you on that text. It was to all the parents about the twins' birthday party. And at that time, everybody in the grade had to be invited to the mega blowout at the jumping house or whatever it was. And it was just not a good time unless somebody threw up or got a black eye or a fat lip at the jumping house. So that's what you mistakenly were invited to, all the good times. What exactly was on that text, by the way?
I really think I replied that, listen, I think you're kind of far. Plus, I don't think this was meant for me, But then I got, I guess, pictures from the event. And then Tara's like, we were just laughing. Like I said, it put a smile on our face at a dark time. So that was.
He wasn't going to respond. And I'm like, you have to. You cannot not respond. Like, this is amazing. Most people would love to be able to even meet you. And here he is on your text thread. It was awesome. But thank you. Thank you for giving us that laugh. We really needed it.
And what you want to thank me for inviting you to the twins' jumpy house party?
I'll come next time. Listen, who doesn't love a good jumpy house?
Gabby's stepmom, Tara, who helped raise her, they refer to her as a bonus mom, spoke with our friends over at The Squeeze a very disturbing question.
His room was completely gutted and renovated. None of his things were there anymore. It was gone. So that very same week, Gabby was missing, and cops were going to their house to try to get, I guess, a scent from their dogs to look for Brian. All his things were gone.
That from our friends at The Squeeze. Again, the Laundries are not charged with any criminal wrongdoing. They have not been named suspects or persons of interest. In fact, they are innocent of all criminal wrongdoing under our jurisprudence. Innocent. The sheer willpower of Gabby Petito's 4 parents is amazing, that they have taken their pain and their anger and turned it into something so amazingly good. This is a discussion I had with Joe and Tara at CrimeCon 2025 out in Denver just a few days ago. But before he murdered her, he assaulted her on Main Street in some little town, and the cop named Gabby the aggressor, even though witnesses state they saw him hit her. So everything that could go wrong went wrong. And somehow the Laundrie's knew more than you did?
Well, no, I was saying the person who was responsible came home back into their house. And I think it was $25,000. They had to write a check for $25,000.
Yeah, they sent a check for $25,000 to their attorney up in New York, Bertolino, who then sent it to a defense attorney in Wyoming. How did they know the location in Wyoming that they needed a defense attorney?
Will you slow down and say that again? So Brian Laundrie, the fiance, walks in the door and nobody said, "Hey, where's Gabby?"
Actually, no, that's not. So he called his mom on his drive home. And they had a long conversation, and immediately afterwards, the parents called Stephen Bertolino, and then I guess the next day, a wire went from the Laundrie's to Bertolino, and then Bertolino hired some high-power criminal defense attorney in Wyoming.
Yeah.
And that was the retainer of $25,000. Now, I don't know about anybody in this room. If your child asks you for a $25,000 check, are you guys going to ask why?
Right?
Just wondering.
Joe and Tara Petito, what is your message tonight to families out there looking for their loved ones, to families that know the one they love is being abused, and your message to people that are being abused?
Okay, so that would be 3 different messages.
So I guess the first one is, if your loved one is missing, don't give up. Keep trying. If you're not getting answers from the media and if they're not helping you, take it to your own social media. Make your own social media. Push it as much as possible. Advocate for your loved one as much as possible.
Can I give a dark one of that? I'll give a dark one of that.
Sure.
Yeah, so for the media and the outlets and stuff, this is going to sound really horrible, but they need stuff that people will watch, and content. A photo sometimes isn't enough to keep people's attention. So videos and or sounds, where people can hear and see the body movements and stuff, can really make an impact on getting that story out there further. So if you have videos or even live photos and stuff where you can hear them, try and put those out there as much as you can as well, because that's some of the stuff that TikTok and like Instagram stories or the mainstream media will pick up on because of that. I do find that to be helpful.
If you're going through a situation similar to Gabby, reach out for help. Reach out to a family member, a loved one. There's a National Domestic Violence Hotline that you can reach out to. They have lots of resources, even on their website. Don't give up that hope. Just keep trying. Come up with a safety plan. Know that you deserve a life of happiness free from abuse.
If you are in a situation where you're being abused, like Tara said, 1-800-799-SAFE is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. But you'll see, like, one of the things that happened after the Netflix documentary, which is really cool, was we got to see so many people tell their stories on how they got out of their situation, to inspire others that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And if I would say kind of watch those, that there are better times ahead. And it's a journey, but there are better times ahead. And, relationships can be a wonderful thing. I mean, she's amazing. I'm an idiot, but she's amazing. So seeing stuff like that can really help. And if you are in a safe place, and you have a story that you would like to tell and get out there to help inspire others, I would encourage you to do that too.
I really love the bracelet you gave me. It says Gabby Petito, she touched the world. What did you mean by that?
She touched the world. She touched everybody. Everybody. Listen, when it comes to what Gabby was doing and the way she helped others see themselves in her, in their certain situations and stuff. And I mean, there wasn't a country that didn't contact us, to be honest. So she really did. She really touched the world. And I hope others can be inspired by the way that she would do things in terms of travel and just try and be nice. Just be a nicer person. I actually find it more difficult to be a jerk than it is to be nice. Like, it's easy to be nice. It's difficult to be a jerk. So,
it takes a lot more energy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And sometimes the people aren't worth your energy.
Get back. It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah. And they're not worth it. Listen, and you had said something before, like, how do you, with social media? My the one thing that parents know about children is that children say sometimes the darndest things. We're like, man, you don't have to be so mean to me, So I care about like 3 people in my house: my wife, my 2 boys. Anything that anyone else says,
And our pet.
but they're not talking to me. So, but other than that, say what you want. We're still going to help as many people as we can, and that's why we're trying to help the Save Project right now. That's our short term. This week we want to raise that money and get them their fence, and hopefully the people that are there, they're going to come there and will sleep better at night knowing that they're in a safe place. That's the bare minimum that we could offer, right?
Guys, joining us tonight are 2 people that have really touched my life, and I hope your life. And it's all because of Gabby Petito, the beautiful, beautiful girl. Please, in her name, help them, help us. Go to GabbyPetitoFoundation.org. And for starters, you can donate to the Laramie Security Project, a shelter for people that need it so desperately. I don't know what is to come. I don't know what will happen in the future, but I do know this. I have 2 friends, and you're looking at them, Tara and Joe Petito. Godspeed, my friends. Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Nancy Grace signing off. Good night, friend. Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. If you're on the go, catch us on your favorite podcast app where you can get all of our content where we, in our own way, seek justice.